This is just a really quick video because I made a longer one about the contention between radical feminism and trans activism, and it ended up being quite long. I didn't make some of the stronger points that I wanted to make, so I'm not sure if I'm going to post it yet. But there's something that I need to say about it, and it's the connection between capitalism and this quote-unquote meritocracy and transgenderism and the idea that men can either become a woman or buy a woman. So meritocracy is the idea that our society is set up so that you get by on your merit. So if you work really hard, you can become anything you want. That's the quote-unquote American dream. And even though I'm Canadian, we still subscribe to this. So in a meritocracy, if you try hard enough, want it bad enough, and work hard enough, you can have anything you want. And I think that this is one of the things that stands behind transgenderism. And along with that is male privilege. So when male privilege says that because you're a man, you can do anything you want, have anything you want, be whatever you want, and when it turns out to be untrue, there's huge backlash, like all the mass shootings and murders that we see that men commit. So when you combine that with meritocracy, this like I can have whatever I want, and if I work hard enough, it will come to me. That includes being a woman. That includes changing your sex to become the opposite sex. So the problem with this idea is that it makes women into a thing that is not indicative of a human being. So women obviously are not things. We are human beings. We are adult human females. There's no adaptation that you can do to yourself physically, emotionally, internally, externally, where you can become another being that already fully exists and has its own organic inner systems and DNA structure and culture. Women's culture is fascinating, and it's based on things that are as a result of our body. How capitalism plays into this is obviously the idea that gender, so these are like gender roles, femininity, masculinity, that's gender. They're very much purchasable ideals. They're very capitalistic. So if you say I want to be a better woman and all you need is a makeover, then what you're doing is buying into the idea that womanhood is about what you can buy and then what you can perform. So you buy your makeup, apply makeup, well, you're a better woman. You can walk farther in high heels, you're a better woman. You are better at being a woman if you look more like what society says a woman has to look like. This is untrue. You don't have to do anything to be a woman. You don't have to do anything. Woman is not a state of doing, it's a state of being. So we as society have a very long history of seeing women as things. I think we need to always keep in mind how recently it's been that women were even considered people at all, even here in Canada, when women up until very recently, and sometimes even still cannot. Up until very recently, we were able to put our names on deeds, have a bank account in our name, give our children our last name. We were considered property, and so that's where the connection between women and things, because we actually were treated as things for a very long time in our social history. We've been trying to make everyone realize that we've been equal this whole time. It's not that we're searching for equality. We already know we are equal. We're searching for equal treatment, and it's still not happening. That's why liberation is a maybe loftier but more effective goal for women. So with that history so recent, it makes perfect sense that we're still fighting to be seen as not things, as whole humans, and not just property, not just extensions of parents or partners. You can't just identify into a whole sex class because of the gender that you're performing, because these are two different things, and we're always getting these mixed up. But sex is about your body, and gender is about basically, like, I think we almost use gender as personality now, but it's gender roles. It's masculinity and femininity, and how well you perform either of those. So there's a bit of how capitalism supports trans ideology, because if you just buy enough woman things, then you can look enough like a woman, and then suddenly you are a woman. So if you combine physically matching certain characteristics that people connect with women with a sincere internal self-declaration that I am a woman, then suddenly you are a woman. But for women who are born female, we don't make those connections ourselves. I do not have a sincere self-declaration that I am a woman based on what society believes a woman to be. And I know that I am female because of the things that my body does. So my battery pack died, and while it was charging, I decided to go out for a run, so I may look just a little dewier. I'm also charged up with endorphins, so I can power through the rest of this video. Because I do this thing where I get off track, one thing reminds me of another, and there's so much that I want to say and so much that I've learned that I feel the need to just kind of like purge all of this information so that maybe I can move on to something else, and it doesn't work like that. So to slow it down and back it up a bit, I'm just pressing on these 2 points. The first being that you can't become a woman, and the second being that you can't buy women. And you can't buy people at all, adults or children. Like, I say you can't in the sense of, like, it's fundamentally and universally wrong, and there's no redemption to it. It goes against nature, it goes against humanity. Human beings are not things to be purchased, and access to women's bodies can't be purchased because consent can't be coerced. So purchasing access to a woman's bodies is inherently rape every time. Prostitution is someone purchasing a woman's consent, so getting around her ability to say no by using poverty. And so that's how capitalism plays into that. If we didn't have women in poverty, the amount of women in prostitution would be close to nil, and then the women who do say that they like their jobs as sex worker, then they would have every freedom to do that, because we wouldn't have the underlying coercion of capitalism, and we would know beyond a doubt that they were doing it out of a free choice. And again, like, it's not just capitalism here that's coercive. Patriarchy is coercive too, obviously. So we would have to eradicate all of these overarching institutions before we could be confident that women were making a free choice. So we're nowhere near that right now, and we can't sacrifice some women. We can't sacrifice the 89% of women who want to leave prostitution for the 11% who say that they like their job. So the idea that you can become another type of human being that is already occupied with a very distinct definition, or that you can purchase a human being who is autonomous and whole and complete in herself, is by nature necrophilic. And in my intentions video, I talk a bit about necrophilia versus biophilia, and how necrophilia means love of death, and many male endeavors, for example, war and capitalism and poverty, all of these are indicative of a love of death. We know that men commit the mass majority of violent crimes, and against other men, against women, against children, against animals, against nation states, other countries, against the earth itself. So this is necrophilia. It means love of death, and it goes against nature. It is anti-nature, which is obviously, like, through the earth's abundance and creative process, is so very biophilic, which is love of life. And I think that a feminist revolution entails a direct switch from necrophilia to biophilia. So with the overthrow of necrophilia, the idea that you as a male can occupy the space that another human being already occupies, which is female, it's turning her into a thing that you can become, which dehumanizes her, which is necrophilic. And the idea that you can purchase access to another human being's body, to access to her, or change her consent from no to yes with money, turns her into a thing, which is dehumanizing, which is necrophilic. So that's my key point today. Most structures in patriarchy and capitalism and racism are necrophilic at the root. They love death, they love violence. It upholds traditions of death and violence in order to indoctrinate the next generations into this, and it derides the things that women themselves are skilled and capable at, like the creation of life itself. It's a huge thing to create consciousness for another human being. We haven't impressed on people enough how important and fundamentally like mind-blowing that is. But because men can't do it, it doesn't get celebrated. So let's slowly move, not slowly, let's rapidly move toward the overthrow of the necrophilic, because there's so much more joy in a life that celebrates life. Okay, well, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, have conversations with me in the comments. I try to reply. So thank you for watching and for letting me into your life. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I know I will because I'm all endorphed up. Okay, bye.